So today's word of the day or theme of the things that kind of came up for me was judgment. And it's interesting, I guess, as someone who um, believes in astrology. Not that I live my life by it or I take it as as is and like it's set in stone. But I do believe we all have characteristics that have been preordained based on our astrology. And I'm a Virgo, which Virgos tend to be a little judgy and very critical. And I guess I like to shy away from the fact that I can be judgmental sometimes, depending on the situation, maybe a lot of times, especially when I'm in the space where I want to control and I want to have things my way and plan and do all the things that they say to do. I do love a good plan. I do love a good strategy, strategy, and I love to analyze things. And with loving to do all those things comes a level of critique that is uncomfortable for others, but also can be very uncomfortable for ourselves. And I think anyone who deals with um, being really judgmental with others and being overly critical, if people externally perceive them and receive them in this way, then know that they are even more critical and judgmental of themselves, right? I think it's a lot worse, to be honest. So if you are someone who is on the receiving end of someone's criticism, know that they judge themselves really harshly as well. So with today's word or theme being around judgment, I kind of just was in observation of how my judgment and control and criticism comes up, and how much it comes up in my parenting, how much it comes up in even the way I guess, organize and clean my house. Um, again, plan and strategy. And I think for me, it's my way of being efficient. And I guess I teeter on the line of perfectionism, or at least what feels in alignment for me. Of like, if I feel that something needs to be a certain way, I feel like I have to have it done that way. So I do feel like it uh, delves into the realms of perfectionism, but not in the way of it has to be perfect according to anyone's else measurement. I think is of my own, of what I already had envisioned or looked to accomplish. That is where that perfectionism comes in. But I'm getting off topic. I'm rambling. But in reflecting and realizing how judgmental I can be, um, in this observation, I just kind of sat with the fact and accepted this aspect of myself of like, you can be a little much and a little overly critical, um, and that's okay. That's okay. And sometimes it works for you, talking to myself. Sometimes it works for me. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it works for those around me, and sometimes it doesn't. I used to have this saying that, like, people come to me and avoid me for the same reason. So if you want to come to me for a level of truth that you feel like you need, then you'll come to me. And if you are in a place where you're maybe not ready to hear the truth, you will avoid me too. And so I think it's the same in terms of um, that level of perfectionism. I think sometimes it's a great quality and it's sometimes not so much. And having to kind of balance how to show up that way. And I think it's important to be able to accept aspects of ourselves that could be deemed unfavorable, because in some way it can work for you. And in a lot of ways, it can work for other people too. It's just a matter of when do you fluctuate between how it working for you and how it works for you. And if you allow yourself to be in acceptance of of when it's appropriate and when it's not. And I guess even appropriate wouldn't be the right word to use, because that teeters on like that perfectionism of a right place, right time. I think just being in a place of acceptance of the characteristics that just, again, some of them, not all of them, have just been preordained. I think once we come into acceptance, we learn to love those aspects of us and operate in them through a place of love. And so, if we're operating in a place of love when it comes to, in this case, judgment or criticism, if you see something that maybe somebody could use help with, or you may have the answers for, if you approach it from a place of love, would it still feel like judgment or criticism? More often, no. I think it's the taking the time to um, think about how to care for someone or approach someone in the way that would be loving to them. Because for myself, I don't know that I mind a straightforward approach as for like how to get it right. I feel like because my focus has mostly been goal oriented, so if it allows me to reach the goal quicker, I'm okay with that criticism or judgment, especially if it's coming from someone that I trust and respect, that I feel like they have my best interest at mind. But um, I also think because it comes from a place of trust, there's that love aspect of um, they've already established a foundation of I love you enough to tell you the truth, to where it um, has solidified. And so building those relationships to where my criticism doesn't come through as um, judgment or um, I know it all or a sense of control. It comes through as I love you enough to tell the truth, and I love you enough to want to see you be and do your best. And so that's just something I've been sitting with today. On top of, I guess this is a whole different aspect that, again, today has just been different ways to see judgment. And another way was when we judge, who do who do you think you are to judge? Because what we may think is the right way may be the right way for me. It may not be for anyone else. And a lot of the times we have no idea and no insight into why a person is doing a thing or why they needed that experience, even if that experience um, brought about a sense of failure. They may have needed that. And so, in this approach of criticism and wanting to correct, now I've overstepped and allowed them to bypass or kind of force my way into making them bypass a very necessary step. And so, who am I to do that? And so, taking myself out of ego, taking myself out of the seat of the teacher, and really just being a student. Because sometimes, especially with my kids, if I just take a step back and allow them the space in the room to learn it on their own, I think it lands a lot differently than me trying to force feed this information to them that could be learned and experienced. And I think it's hard for parents, probably especially mothers, to be able to sit back and maybe watch their kid fuck up in a way. But sometimes it's necessary. For some children, they need the experience to teach them instead of someone telling them. And I think that's something that I'm constantly having to surrender to as a parent, especially in the season of having a teenager. So it's just so many things that have came up today that was just like, wow, this is an opportunity to look at things from a different perspective and to have more grace for myself when I am being judgmental and overly critical with myself, but also with others. So I'm not sure why, but here the audio cut off. So I guess that wraps up Sacred Sundays. I hope it was helpful and it was good medicine for you guys as much as it was for myself. Take the time to journal or just self reflect on how judgment and criticism may show up for you within your own personal lives, but also with others if you experience being on the receiving end of someone else's judgment or criticism, how to hold the space of grace, compassion, and understanding as we are all in this journey of becoming honestly, and just learning how to be better humans and how to return to love. So I pray that this was helpful. I will still be posting the guided meditation tomorrow, which I've made a routine, and hopefully will continue. So check that out. If you found this video to be insightful, helpful in any way, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye for now.